Okay, so hello and welcome. Standing here makes you feel a bit like a professor. So if you would like to take out pen and paper, we're writing a test today. Okay, so yeah, this was a joke. I am here to talk about communities, and I submitted this talk originally to C++ Now because they have their roots in Boost and BoostCon, and I wanted to discuss with the audience there how things are changing in our community with the new standards. And I know Qt and Boost very well, have attended many events, both the Qt Dev Days and the now then rebranded C++ Now, which actually is BoostCon for a long time. And so yeah, also do as I do a lot of work for communities and with communities, I wanted to see what can we learn if we compare them. And also, yeah, a short thanks to the sponsors. That's really awesome that some companies are giving money to make this event possible. And yeah, short picture of myself, who I am. I'm doing C++ since '98, was for a long time a freelancer. Did spend previously to that some years at Vodafone, worked some telecommunication things there. And since 2012, I started meeting C++, and like 3 years ago, I started to do it full time to be an evangelist for C++, to do work with communities, for C++, to build a really network. And I'm really glad that Marco did pick up on my work and in Italy and organizes this community here, which is really great. It has happened in some other countries too. There's a Spanish community meeting now. And I hope that we'll still see in a lot of other countries. Actually, I see every month new user groups worldwide, and so this is an ongoing thing. Let's get started with the talk. I want just a quick overview. Of course, introduction. We're through that. I want to compare Boost and Qt, but I also want to have a discussion with you on not so much what they could learn from each other, but what would we expect from them today. And of course, this talk went through a review process at C++ Now, and the focus is a bit more heavy on Boost, but we also get to Qt. So yeah, this talk went through a review process, and this is like some of the reviews I got from the C++ Now, though typical expectation from some people reviewing something, well, we only can learn what they can, what mistakes do they do, and we don't want to make those mistakes. And this is not this talk, okay? It's not my view. I think we really should learn. We should learn from what they do better. What do they do good, and what could we learn from that for Boost, or what could Qt learn, or what can we as a community itself learn, like for Italy or for a global scale, maybe even the committee, because the committee itself is also kind of a thing, it's a community of their own. And then, of course, I've seen John Korb plugging my talk for C++ Now, and for years now, I'm talking with John about why Qt isn't coming to our conferences, why we don't have so many Qt talks submitted. And in preparing this talk, I made the interesting observation that more or less the same thing is true for Boost. There's few talks for Boost being submitted to conferences, very few. I think, if I remember correctly, from my own conference meeting C++ this year, not a single one. Even at C++ Now, which used to be a Boost conference, it's very, very few. But still, Boost authors are coming there, but they talk about different things. So things are changing in our community, and different communities are affected by this, I think. And in preparing this talk, I also wanted to know who and why do people use Boost or Qt or both or nothing. And it's, I think, kind of alarming to see that 19% of this total representative Twitter survey, they're not using neither. maybe they're game programmers and they're writing games with engines, but so almost 20% of our community are not using these libraries, and Boost is of course the leader, and maybe it's also a bit Boost favored in the way that Meeting C++ is very cutting edge C++, and maybe I don't have so many Qt followers, but the Qt account at Twitter has like 17,000 followers, so they could turn that around in a minute if they wanted. And yeah, let's just quickly look at both Boost and Qt. Where are they coming from? What are they doing? Boost has a strong connection to the standard. It's actually being funded, or founded, not funded, by committee members. 98, when the first standard was out. That was, Boost kind of can be seen as a reaction to C++ 98, that they wanted to have some place where they could collect libraries, which in retrospect was a success. And that's also the philosophy or the idea behind Boost is to be a collection of libraries. And they have certain things which they provide, like Boost config, but they do not see themselves as a framework or as an application framework, as, for example, Qt does. And Qt is older than the standard, as we're going to see in the next slide. It's heavily influenced by ideas made popular by Java and other object-oriented trends in software engineering. Kind of can diss it as the JDK of C++. And it is through and through an application framework. It's been developed with that idea from the beginning, and it has kept true to that. And so if we compare now them both, we see that Boost itself has its roots in the standard, while Qt predates the standard and has never really been well connected to the standard community, while Boost kind of has collected all those people which are interested in the standard and cutting edge C++. And on another really main and core difference is that Boost was from the beginning and always open source, but Qt actually has commercial roots and always had a commercial background. This is a major difference, as we're going to see later, in my opinion. So if you compare the coding styles, Boost really wants to be cutting edge, and they have a pioneer mindset, and they've provided a lot of great libraries in these 10 years where we didn't have a standard, where we were working on a new one, but we were waiting for OX, which then got 1X. And so they're really trying to get the most out of the language, which kind of gets you sometimes in trouble with compilers. And Qt has kind of a different approach. They want only mature features. They want a set in their APIs that it's easily understandable, that there's no high barrier in understanding template metaprogramming to use Qt. Even if they kind of, in the background and the private APIs, they do use advanced features, but it's usually not exposed to the user. And really important binary compatibility should be mentioned with Qt, as this is kind of important for stakeholders like KDE to be able to distribute new releases and have them in really binary compatibility on the machine. Qt doesn't care, Boost doesn't care about that. Qt is like really, it's holy. And as I said, yeah, they have like public and private APIs. Boost has it also. Every Boost library has a detail folder where the nitty-gritty ingredients for the implementation are usually. So that's a similar approach there, but just with a different mindset. And yeah, where really a big difference today is visible is the events and marketing space, where unfortunately communities live and thrive too. And we as a C++ community have to see and understand that. As I mentioned, BoostCon was renamed C++ Now, reflecting C++ 11. And if you actually only talk about technical talks, it's one talk which is about Boost, which was a Boost HANA talk. And yeah, Boost has a social media appearance this year. They have a Twitter account now. in 2017. They don't have a blog. Their website is okay-ish, but it's pretty old, so they kind of have had a very, very good website designer, making sure that it's also working on mobile and things which probably weren't really around when the website was designed, at least from the look and the code I saw. And Qt, the difference in the font size shows you how different things are on the Qt side. Qt has its own events. Qt's doing events in Japan and China, and in the US and Europe are the main events, which now enter. In 1 year we are in Europe, and this is this year, and next year again we'll be in America with that. KDE has an event called Academy, which is for KDE users, but Qt and KDE are also often very well connected, so that's also something where a lot of the Boost of the Qt community could go if they wanted, and they do. And one thing I found interesting is they have like a booth at Embedded World, and this year they made it the way that they shared this with all their partners. So there's a Qt company which kind of owns Qt, but they have a booth at a conference where not only the Qt companies, but all the partners and other companies can present what they do with Qt. Yeah, marketing, they have a very good blog, social media, they're very well, and a core difference, Qt always has this commercial background, and that's why they can offer paid support, which I think is a big, big difference for many companies, and probably also would help to have a better user base for Boost if they would offer that. And they would, but they never did. So I can't give you details on this, but I had some discussions about this after my talk at C++ Now, and this is planned. They plan to offer commercial support through the company of Michael Cass, Sierra, but this isn't official yet, so I can't really give you details on that. So, but it's nice to see that they're moving in that direction, and there's a lot of movement, and I think Michael Cass is really doing a lot of work in the background currently for Boost, which is really good. And yeah, if you want to summarize this, it kind of boils down to Boost has always had and is very, very focused on libraries, while Qt comes from a different angle and is very much also about creating things, about being, stakeholders, about having application lifecycle, and the commercial ecosystem which allows them to add new features which otherwise probably wouldn't be there. And that makes things for Qt probably not always easier, but it is, I think, an advantage. And sometimes, of course, it's a bit difficult, probably, but we see like additions like the new Qt 3D, which came from KDAP, and other things which are coming through this angle and which probably otherwise wouldn't exist in Qt. And Boost probably could be a lot more advanced if they had an active commercial shared ecospace, which they're missing because they always have been a kind of academical, library focus, volunteers, and they're non-profit organizations. So if you want to throw money at Boost, they're kind of and yeah, the point I want to make is most of us are not library authors, and most of us write application code, and so this is a focus where Boost, I think, could learn a lot, and Boost also should see that things are important in non-library developers, and that's what when I work with Boost, sometimes I miss the usability focus which exists with Qt. And then I had this spring the perfect example. I thought I needed to copy a directory, and Boost cannot do it with Boost file system. So which I found kind of embarrassing that they cannot do it. And then I like, yeah, Qt, no, they must be able to do it. But it turns out the Qt has classes for directories and for Qfile, etc. Everything is there. You could do it, but you have to write it yourself. And you can search for the code on the internet. On Stack Overflow you find both versions, kind of like how to copy a directory with file system, or with Qt. But neither Qt nor Boost support this out of the box. But there's actually one library which supports it, and that is the file system library, which comes with C++17, because they have a copy in file system, and they have this copy options parameter as a last thing, and this is what you can do with copying in the new standard. So that's like cutting edge in C++ now. You can copy directories. Neither Boost nor Qt can do it, which generally brings me to the new standards. This is for Boost a much bigger problem than it's for Qt, because Qt never really was involved with standardization, so Qt stays Qt, and they're adapting, and it's a slow process, but it's always been clear that Qt is a slow-moving target. And since 5.7, they're C++11 mandatory, and they had a long-time release before that. And maybe they're going to move to C++14 in some time, maybe sooner than we expect. And Boost actually has a problem that this cutting edge of the past is now a cutting edge, which cuts them a little bit, because there's many Boost libraries which are now in the standard, and the standard libraries are actually better, and you want to use them because they are like using variadic templates, etc. And they are not. Some Boost factories, some Boost libraries have been refactored to use the new standards, but not everything. And everything, a lot of Qt is based on, and Boost is based on MPL, and no one wants to rewrite MPL or refactor MPL in a way to use the new standards. There's actually some movement in that area happening with newer libraries, using new ways to do TMP, template metaprogramming. But for Boost itself, everything that's based on MPL kind of can be seen as legacy, or it will be soon legacy. And yeah, both have a thriving and active community, but I kind of feel that Boost, if you take a closer look with Boost and the new standards, we see already in C++14 we have 13 Boost libraries which are now on the standard. So there's those 13 libraries which are gone as an argument to a lot of people to use Boost, if they are able to use C++14, of course, which I hope you are able to. That's really actually a nice thing to do. It's a good standard. And there's a bunch of libraries on the way, and with 17 there's 4 more libraries which move from Boost into the standard, and these are usually re-implementations in the modern standard. So you really want to use the standard or the standard version of that, and that's usually not in Boost. For variant is a very good example. Boost variant makes your code compile forever if you really heavily use it. The new STD variant can use variadic templates and other approaches, and is a lot lighter in compilation time. And yeah, Boost really has a problem with legacy code, I think. Its age is showing now. And Qt has a similar problem, but it's more showing for Boost as the good ideas, the good libraries have been now moved to the standard. And another huge big problem for Boost is that it's monolithic. If you want a bicycle, Boost gives you everything else, whatever you wanted. This can have an advantage if you just have a big code base and it doesn't matter what kind of dependencies you pull in. But today, it's for a lot of things different. We just want to install our libraries like from GitHub or somewhere else, or modularity is a big topic for the future, I think. And even the standard is moving with trying to have a repository in JFrog. So that's the future, and Boost modularization is kind of standing still. They tried that, but it's not really a thing which we could expect soon. And of course, the same is true for Qt. But Qt is an application framework. They bring everything what they need, and it's not moving to the standard anytime soon. So if you want to use QML, that's a great new thing to use, and it's in Qt. I couldn't, yeah, the only counterpart for Boost would be Boost HANA, where you really need like a used compiler to use it. And also, of course, I quickly want to speak about the elephant in the room, about the mock. That's when I mention Qt, I often get that from a lot of people, like, how terrible is a mock? And actually, and if you talk to Qt people, you get like kind of the opposite. They love the mock. The mock is a great tool, and they use it for all kinds of things. And it has enabled in Qt a lot of features which weren't available at the time when the mock was created. And today we have a lot better technology as we had back then, so we could rewrite the mock, and Qt actually is also working on that and looking into technologies to have a better mock, or even to replace the mock with a standard. But one core feature where it's used is reflection. And what makes it interesting for me is, like, especially when I hear like Boost people comparing about the mock, Boost has very similar libraries like Boost Fusion or Boost HANA, which are doing kind of the same thing. It's just that it's not implicit, it's explicit. You have to do it in your code. But Qt kind of uses the compiler to generate this for you. And yeah, you can discuss what is better or not. The one big thing where I think that Qt lags behind is just that you have the requirement to derive from QObject if you want to use a mock. So you can't really use a mock or some mock features. You have to derive from QObject. Yeah, but I don't want to talk too much about code, because I really want to focus on the communities and what we could learn from them. And so let's have a quick look at what Qt could learn or should learn. I think one thing when I work with Qt, what I'm missing, because I'm an advanced user, is advanced features to make things easier, or to have more productivity, or to esse Qt in different ways. And Qt is moving in that direction, to have like lambdas everywhere where they would make sense, but I often find myself and a lot of parts in Qt you still have to subclass something to what essentially you could today to do with a lambda. So you could do it with a lambda, but you have to subclass everything. And yeah, templated classes, the mock does not understand templates, so you don't have any templates in Qt because of that. They probably also should see if they could move in that direction. There's a library called CopperSpice, which is actually a fork of Qt 4, which proves that is possible. So maybe they move on. And as I said, yeah, C++14 and Qt 6 maybe, I don't know. Qt didn't move to C++11 with 5.0, so if 6.0 is coming, maybe they're moving to 14, maybe they're doing it earlier. The next version of Qt, the current version is 5.9, and the next version is 5.10. So it's clear that they're not moving on directly to 6.0 in the future. And I don't know what the timeline for 6.0 is. You already can search in Qt for 6.0, and you see kind of comments where things should be refactored or changed for 6.0. But also, we've been talking about Boost, and I think Boost has a bit more problems than Qt, and could learn a lot more from Qt than the other way around, maybe. First, I really think that Boost needs to adopt to the new realities and to really reinvent itself, as they need a better branding, a better marketing, better visibility. C++ now is not really a Boost event anymore. So Boost currently does not really have a home regarding to an event. And I think that they should change that. Maybe have, like, I don't know, they should have some visibility at itCppCon, and try to really to grow the community again, and to reach out to the community. That's something which is really needed for Boost, I think, to stay in the current field where C++ evolves. The commercial outreach, they're trying to improve that. They actually, 2 years ago, I think they announced the Boost library official maintainer program, which exists, but it's really well buried in the website of them. So you have to really look for it or know that it exists. So basically, as a company, you can have the Boost logo at your website if you're willing to take over the maintainership for a library. And that makes, of course, sense if your code base is heavily depending on Boost or on a certain Boost library, and you would like to become the maintainer for that. And another thing where I think that Qt is doing a lot better job is the SDK. Qt has like an IDE of its own, and of course Boost can never do that because they don't have an UI library and they actually don't need that. But I think that they should, also with modular versions, we had this whole history of Boost trying to become modular. They actually had a dependency manager in evolvement, and that was killed by the community or by the internal processes of Qt. Boost. Yeah. And especially I think both, and that's, this is like really high resolution logo. Boost does not have that, and they're also working on that. I've been told after the talk, but yeah. But I think what both really need to reflect on their role, what in our community as C++ programmers, what do they want to be, what role do they want to play, and also we see with the new standards there's now a lot of changes, and there's a new playfield, and there's new technologies, things which we never saw coming, like GitHub coming big and all the other things. So if you look at the recent things, like the standard also has its own problems, especially we have a lot of people writing code in the new standards. You can find like template metaprogramming libraries like Brigand, Metal, Boost HANA, and a few others, which are going new and interesting ways, and where template metaprogramming can compile in seconds instead of minutes or hours, and that's very interesting. And yeah, other examples of libraries which, for example, are not part of Boost is like Modern JSON, Tau JSON, Range v3, and there's a lot of others in GitHub. And there's movement also from the committee. We have the GSL, which of course it's not a library, but it's a guideline, and there's a guideline support library for that from Microsoft, and also that is not being put under the Boost umbrella. So this is kind of something which is kind of in the gray space between itCpp and the committee. And of course, itC++ has its own limitations. The standardization is slow. I think it really takes a lot of effort to standardize something. And if you attended a standards meeting, you really see how much effort is put into that. And there's a reason that it's so slow, because once it's in a standard, it's kind of set in stone, and we want to do things right and correct if we set that in stone. So ISO itself has its advantages, but also kind of is, of course, a standard organization which is slow in adopting things, and there are certain expectations which people have today on meetings which cannot be done with ISO. So maybe we want to really think about if we don't add kind of an umbrella to the standard organization, because we need some spaces where we can evolve C++, which then in a better version, the kind of the original idea of Boost, we have to revive that, in my opinion. And one thing that is really great is a 3-year cycle, that we get every 3 years a new standard, a new updated standard, that we're not really getting stuck. And yeah, as I said, yeah, standardization has its own problems. And also, yeah, as a community, we have to ask us where do we want to go with C++? Where do we want to see our organizations or where are holes which we should plug in, and that's why I think there's a lot of space for discussion. And so that's what I would like to do with you now. I would like to discuss what do we need as a community. Yes? Yes.
Present data, they use Qt as a graphic tool, and then they are transferred into Qt because then they start using containers, then they start using file system integration, database access.
Yeah.
So
could you bring him the microphone? Yeah, so the comment is that Qt fills on plugs a hole where C++ does not have something in the standard, which is UI, databases, and other examples. I do agree with that. And there have been other libraries doing the same, but Qt has been vastly successful in just filling the space.
And once you are in Qt and you start using Qt classes like QString, like the Qt version of the containers, it's difficult then you move out of Qt because everything is there. But everything starts from the needs of a graphical user interface.
Yes, but I think that's also one of the big disadvantages of Qt, that you have the strong lock-in in Qt itself. And with the new standards, I mean, I hope you understand yourself, or we are C++ programmers, not Qt programmers. So I really like Qt, and they're doing great work with their libraries. But in my own work with Qt, I noticed that you're very, very easily getting locked in Qt, and not really, you get out of touch with the things which are new in the standard, and I, as a C++ programmer, I want to use those things. And Qt is not really moving fast enough for my own needs and C++ to be useful in that space. So just having to subclass in so many cases because the libraries are only providing this as an interface and not being able to just plug in a lambda is like a good example where Qt just forces you to write boilerplate code.
Well, as it's also been said before, I think it's a good thing that these libraries, both Boost and Qt, are somehow can somehow be used as a form of staging of features that may provide a proof that something is used, so that it can finally be put into the standard. I mean, it's true that both Boost and Qt are proceeding slowly, but that I have to say that the standard is also not so fast in the end. So it's good to have something that can be used to fill holes that are there. And then, okay, there is some lock-in that you are bound to, because, okay, you are now sealed in Boost or you're sealed in Qt. But there's also a problem with the standard that doesn't go fast enough. Maybe the standard itself should start, and the standard itself started using something as std experimental. Maybe that is a good idea, to provide things that are not actually standard, but that can be used so that people can use them, and so that we can actually check if there are use cases for these things or not.
I agree with that, but the standard itself is bound to ISO, and hence has to apply to ISO rules. That's why it's, for example, not possible to speed it up endlessly. Also, that probably wouldn't be for, the committee it's still human people. And for example, this UI space, there's some part of the committee which is currently working on a primitive UI standardization for drawing 2D perfectly on surfaces like Vulkan or something. And also Michael Wong itself has reached out to the game community to integrate their needs into the standard. And maybe we can do different, or it's a similar approach to Qt, and add a better version of what we have in the UI support in Qt to the standard, which is currently already evolving. Michael, do you want to say something about the Qt, about the 2D API, which is?
Right. So SG12 is the graphics API, and it's based on the Cairo interface. Michael McLaughlin submitted it, and this is a good start. The games community, some people have expressed concerns about the Cairo interface because it's a stateful interface. People are now interested in having a stateless interface. And indeed, in the next meeting in Toronto, they're going to go, a few games people, Guy Davidson from Creative Assembly is going to come in and try to convince the committee to adapt a stateless interface that is not just Cairo based. What you're talking about for Qt is, I think that's a perfectly fine framework as a graphical interface to submit. If this is an interesting thing, it just needs somebody to submit that as a paper. If you want, and you're concerned about your knowledge about the standards process, you can submit it through SG14 first. We will review it, and then we can have somebody pass it through to the standard.
Yeah, I think there was an additional comment. Any more comments? Or yes?
You talked before about how Boost is kind of a different thing from Qt, because Qt is kind of an environment in itself, while Boost is more a collection of things like that are very advanced in a very kind of move fast, break things style. Are you suggesting that to solve some of his problems, Boost should kind of slightly abandon the move fast and break things style and adopt some of the Qt environment style or design?
No, I think that it's just a different philosophy, and Boost has been successful with it in the past. I think, but where Boost really has to think about is their role, what they want to be in the future. There's a certain group in Boost which wants to be the legacy version of the standard, because there's a lot of us which cannot move to the new standards. And then on the other hand, it's like the core Boost community, which are people which live and die for being cutting edge, and they are interested to really abuse C++17 to the max. And you also can, this spirit is still alive, and it's very much alive at C++ now, but as you see with many libraries, these modern libraries are now not mostly in Boost, because the review for Boost is a huge problem. The review key is full, and there needs to be review managers for everything, and so Boost adds per new version 1 or 2 libraries, like once a half a year, and there's many more libraries in this key which should be reviewed, and maybe the time when they are reviewed, maybe they're already outdated because somebody who submitted that did the implementation in C++11, and yeah, it's Qt has a different approach, and maybe where Boost could learn is to have also a focus on applications, on trying to really to have more feedback from the user's side, what could be improved in Boost. But on the other hand, this is also again in Boost then the thing of the author. Once your library is in, you still are in control of your library. So if you need a feature or a bug fix and the author thinks that's not a bug fix, or he doesn't want to support that compiler, that's often fine with Boost and the author then. So I'm not saying that Boost should become like Qt or the other way around, but I think that they probably need both to learn to adopt for a better future for themselves. Because if you really see it, 17 libraries are 17 libraries I think it is, or more now are moving out to the standard, and the standard version is a way more advanced version which you actually really want to use in your code base. And so Boost has to see what role do they want to fill and what resources do they have to fill that role, and how do they do the active community work, the reaching out. They don't have an event anymore where they could recruit people. And I think they should have, what really Boost needs to do is to invest more in an outreach, to be more in the community, to be more accessible, and to think about the whole thing with modularity is they really should have that, and it's not there. And in my opinion, it's inexcusable that they don't have it. They tried really hard to make it, and that failed for various reasons which you actually don't understand when you really look them up and ask people which were there. And so Boost has its issues too, and Qt for sure too, but Qt is a different beast. And they don't have the problem that a lot of the good content leaked out to the standard, which is good for everyone, of course, but yeah, okay.
Hi there, thanks for the talk. So with my Qt hat, I'd like to give a couple of feedbacks about something that has been said. Yes, it is absolutely true, by the way, that yes, Qt wants to lock you in. That's just the nature of Qt, as you just explained. It's a framework. It's something that really wants you to stay inside of it, rather than reach out and grab pieces from other stuff, from other libraries. And the reason why this has happened is, well, part historic. So for historical reasons, Qt has its own containers because Qt was born before standard containers. So we just didn't have anything else to use, and we built our own. However, I must also say that Qt is very guilty of suffering from not invented here syndrome, and starting adding stuff in there, while instead of pointing people at, hey, we don't really need a shared pointer class in Qt. Just use the Boost one or the one from the standard library in C++11. Just use those because they're out there, they just work. We don't need our own copy, our own invention. And unfortunately, that actually has happened. So Qt now has a shared pointer and a unique pointer class. And so with that, I want actually to join the discussion on the community, which is, I think, something else about the Qt community. It seems to be kind of closed on itself. There are just sporadic outreaches into the main C++ community, because I could say that pretty much every Qt developer is also C++ developer, not vice versa. So I think that the Qt community should reach out to the bigger community of C++ developers and say, hey, we're also there, we got some good stuff in there, we'd like to work on you to put some of this stuff into the standard, or just just discuss, is this good, is this bad, what do other people think? And at least historically, Qt has terribly failed at doing that. It has been in its own bubble for a very long time. I'm glad to see that finally in the last few years, I would say last couple of years, some of the reach out has started to happen. I mean, I'm here representing a Qt shop, basically. This is a C++ event. I also go to Jens event in Berlin, to itCppCon in Bellevue. That's something that you actually don't say on the Boost community. It's natural for the Boost people to go to C++ events.
Qt has taken the standard in its own way serious, in that very very soon you could use connect with lambdas, etc. So there have always been a lot of things where you could use C++11 or but I end up kind of writing my own little frameworks which work around Qt and make my code a bit more terse, and I don't have to write so much boilerplate and don't want to always repeat myself. And I think that's a point where Qt maybe could learn or should learn.
I have not clear what happens when a library, for example, a Boost library, gets into the standard. For example, suppose I have created a library, it has been placed in Boost, then I am in charge with someone else. I can still modify it, but then at some point it gets into the standard. At that point, I am still in charge, even if I am nobody, or someone else takes the control of the development. The library gets frozen. No more evolution is possible because it's in the standard. What happens to a library once it has been standardized?
That is a good question. First, the Boost library itself does not get in the standard. What gets in the standard is the idea, and the standard itself then defines how this idea has to be implemented, and then the library writers of the standard libraries implement this idea. So there is actually not a single line of code being copied from Boost to the standard. And I think it's very good because it forces us to rewrite libraries, and to on the negative effect it can have that the standardization is only able to handle a certain subset of a library. So for example, in C++11, the Boost shared pointer was able to handle arrays and the standard pointer wasn't. And so there's always little nitty-gritty details where Boost supports something or doesn't support something. And the library itself in Boost still, after the standardization, could evolve and add new things and be creative with that. But I'm not aware of like a library which has done that in the past.
You mentioned in your talk that sometimes you'd like Qt to be aimed more to an advanced developer, but I feel that sometimes Boost seems too intelligent for its own sake. For example, look at Boost Chrono that then came into the standard, or what was that? So do we actually need a library for compile time, rational arithmetic into the standard just to support overcomplicated chrono library? So also, I don't know, there's this aim for overgeneralization that sometimes seems to miss the actual problem that you face every day when programming. Don't you think that Boost could change a bit this kind of attitude?
I think that it's probably very good if we make the mass functions in the standard constant expression, as far as that is possible. There's for a few ones there's a little bit of a conflict with the C standard. And I do think that we should have good compile time support because people already start doing all kinds of crazy things. There's a great talk called Constant Expressions, all these things, which was at Silver's Now, which is now online at YouTube. And Jason Turner and Ben Dean more or less have written a compile time JSON parser, which parses at compile time JSON data. And of course, this parser is not only for you could do everything with it. Basically, they've proven that, yeah, like previously we could do that with templates. Now we can do it with constant expressions. That we have our own way to write complete programs which run at the compilation time. And we have no idea where this is going, but I think in the past, template metaprogramming has brought us a lot of innovations and good things. So I think that we should go in that direction for the advanced users. But I think that the Qt always tries to have the easy usable interface, which I think is a good idea and it should be the way, but I also would like to have some features which give me support, like to do certain things, like traits would be like a core example, just to have traits to test on something, if that is a Qt library, or is it a Qt class, or is it like derived from Qt object or something like that. And that's the things I'm missing.
Okay. Okay.
Directly behind you.
Thank you for your call, for your talk. I have a question about one component of the Boost library, that is serialization. I saw that you put in the legacy code. So does it mean that it's not maintained anymore? Does it mean that there are other standard way to serialize data in C++? Because I think this is something very basics in a programming language, and it
yes.
should be. And
yes.
so
there are other libraries which support serialization with C++11. Serialization is not one of them, and I think 2 years ago I had a talk with Robert Remney, who is a library author, and he was like, yeah, this is a library which is 10 years old, and today I probably would do it differently, and I don't see, although if you wanted to bring a new serialization library into Boost, that probably would be a good thing to do, because Robert told me that he's not really able to update the library in a way he would like to, because it would break too much. And so, yeah, I agree with that, but unfortunately for me, that the talk with Robert makes it clear that standardization currently, in my opinion, belongs into the part of Boost which is going to become a legacy. And if you want to use modern standards, if you want to have faster compiler times, you're probably forced to use a different solution for serialization, if that's a pain point in your code.
No other question? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. One more thing. Nobody asked about bonus slides. Actually, I have an idea. I think we need something like a certification for libraries which are not in the standard and which are not in Boost, because there's a few library authors which do not want to submit to Boost, because Boost has its own things. You need to kind of adhere to their standards regarding build system, for example, where they use their own build system and not CMake. So you can't, I think currently, as far as I'm informed, not submit a library which is built with CMake to Boost. You have to also provide build files with Boost build and other things. So Eric Niebler has also, kind of last year had a tweet about, that we should have a review community on C++. And I thought about, just trying to, if you can get this started. So I registered the subreddit rCPP review, and the main goal is basically that there's, it's certified by, I give my name, meaning C++ for that, and that we kind of make a space available where people can have their libraries reviewed if they adhere to a certain standard or not. And then there would be a list at my website which contains the libraries which are officially able to have the seal of approval by the C++ community. And so we would have something to give library authors a different tool to show that their libraries are adhering to a certain coding standard, to certain points. And that's not totally ready, but I'm currently working on getting that ready within a few days. And yeah, thank you for attending my talk. And thank you for the discussion. It was really good.